Hello and welcome to another video regarding truck advice and tips. So today I'm going to give you a review about my time working at a company who delivered flooring, carpets, general vinyl flooring, that kind of stuff. Lots of jobs out there and it looks decently paid, it's not too badly paid. So first of all, I was a new driver, I did work on the bins, didn't like that. And how I got this job was funny because I'd applied for the job maybe 2 months ago, maybe a month, well, I think it was maybe a month ago. And obviously I didn't hear anything back as a new driver. And then I saw the wagon again pass me on the motorway and I thought I'll check on the website. And I emailed the transport manager at the depot I was going for. And hey presto, he phoned me up a couple of days later and said that he liked my CV and with a new influx of work coming in, would you like the job, etc. So I took the job, and first day, got there, wagon, a daft wagon, you know, not too bad I guess, you know, not too bad. Had my first day of training. It was a quick training session, and it went quick, and you learnt a lot, you know. Second day I was out on my own, simple as that, I was out on my own. I was told to download some apps. You'll get sent through your schedule of work. I was told that the average amount of drops per day would be 15. My first day was 18. So, and when I spoke to the transport manager at first, and I had me almost telephone interview with him, he did almost doll the job up a little bit. I'm not saying he was lying, but he kind of made it quite a lot sweeter than maybe what it was, you know, in my opinion. But nevertheless, I cracked on my 18 drops. Now I can't exactly remember where I went. I think I went Liverpool, Wigan and Southport. It's a lot to do in one day. And I was told maybe to come in about 7 o'clock-ish. I think I came in at maybe 6:45. My wagon was already loaded. So it was already loaded. You could have a quick look at the back door. Lots of carpets, pallets at the front. You know, a little bit of mayhem there, but there we have it. So you had your schedule, off you went. I got stuck in traffic because obviously I think I had to fuel up a service station somewhere, and obviously I didn't have the app at the time. Nobody told me this, but I think it was BP. You can only fill up BP. I was a little bit nervous at first, being a new driver. I felt I'm going to have to fill up somewhere, so I went almost the opposite direction for a couple of miles to come back on myself. So I was late for the first drop. Now they do give you a schedule, and they do say you should be arriving at this time, this time, this time. If you're a little bit late, it doesn't matter because it's an all-day delivery, but they're a little bit unrealistic those times because whoever's done that has obviously done it through an app in the office, is not aware of obviously what a truck driver has to deal with, traffic, the slowness of a wagon, trying to park up, that kind of thing. And you're given approximately 15 minutes per drop. Now, it's not too bad, it's not too good at times, it depends. You might only have one rubber carpet to get rid of, that might not take too long at all. But overall I found generally it was a difficult one to manage that, if I'm honest, when you look at the variations of delivery you were doing, like big pallets, you know, lots of carpets, the loft insulation, that kind of thing. You know, it would take a lot of time, and also deciding where to park as well. So as you go through your drops through the day, they are everywhere basically. More or less they are in kind of like town centres because you're delivering to shops basically, and that can be a bit tricky. You go in town centres, and some were fairly big outlets where there was a bit of spacing for parking, or you just park inside, a bit of space there, and you would then open the back, and more often than not, if it was carpets, you would unload them yourself. If there were a few carpets there, lads from the shop would always help. You would always get some help, which is good. Other big carpets, I mean massive carpets weighing I don't know how many tons, or how many stone I should say, were sometimes taken off with a forklift truck, so that really helped as well, along with pallets, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. Nevertheless though, if you were still delivering 6 carpets, you know, you were lugging them on your back, they were quite heavy, you know, and it wasn't long before you had a sweat on you. Now when you go in different drops, like I say, some were you had a fair bit of space, others were literally on the side of a road, on a main road. You'd literally had to stop there, that was it. And there were times where, I remember one time in Frodsham, I think I was in, I almost had to park at the traffic lights. It was absolutely crazy. There was no way I could park anywhere else. It was so busy on each side of the road, and then obviously you're lugging the carpet across the road. wasn't my cup of tea, that kind of thing. You know, I felt quite pressured. Parking up different areas wasn't easy. The pallets were mostly taken off by forklift, mostly. However, I did get one right at the end of my shift. I think it was in Bolton or Wigan. Wigan it would have been, actually. And went to a shop, actually park almost like diagonally on the road, diagonally on this little drive that he had. And he had no forklift, bless him. He was about maybe in his 70s, and 2 full pallet loads of like kind of wood flooring, not massively long, but they were heavy. And I had to, with him, unload them. 2 pallets full, and it was heavy work, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it one little bit. You were given a yearly rate, so for example 27 grand, 28 grand, whichever it was. Got to be careful with that, because obviously, you know, they can send you out all day, and by the time you've done maybe 10, 11 hour day, you know, that hourly rate kind of shows up maybe a little bit less than what it should be. And again, because you were on that yearly rate, and it was job and finish, you felt like you were rushing around a little bit, you know, working through various stages of your hourly rates, that kind of thing, if you can get what I mean by that. But it was overall a tough job. Good money, but you did feel like you were rushing. It was very much a multi-drop role, which I'm not really a fan of anyway. You know, I know most truck jobs are some kind of multi-drop, but when you're talking over maybe 8 drops, you know, it can get a bit heavy. Maybe that's just me being a bit soft. Certainly I would say over 10. I'm not really a big fan of that, if I'm honest. But yeah, 18, other lads were doing 21 drops, you know, and it was, yeah, you were travelling some distance, and by the time this shift was over, you was tired. 1 or 2 times, because of the way the wagon was loaded, you know, it wasn't sometimes possible to actually strap some of the pallets up. And again, on one time, 1 pallet fell over. I had to try and build that back up again. That caused a few issues. And on one of the jobs that I went on, because I worked with another fella a couple of days later, and he had 2 pallets on the front of the wagon. Oh my God, the front was so low down, the suspension, you could hear it, you could see it. Nothing was done really. You know, it's loaded, you know, and the problem is, yes, as a driver, you should say, I'm not taking that out, but in reality, when you're employed by somebody and it's already loaded, you know, what do you do in that situation? You know, it's quite a bold move to then say, right, I'm not taking that out, that's it. But I'm telling you now, I don't think you should have took that out. It looked very, very difficult. As well as doing your deliveries, you might do collections. Now, it usually would be at the same site, but again, you know, handballing, as we call it, or forklift, you know, that kind of thing would be done. If you were to move pallets, because some pallets were placed kind of right at the side of the side door, obviously the back door's side door, and you'd hope the pallets were going to be somewhat close to the side door. Sometimes they weren't, and you kind of had to your pump truck, and you'd have to move it. They were heavy. They were really heavy, almost where you couldn't move them. And again, you were sweating like crazy, moving this pallet, trying to get to a point where the forklift could get it. Again, hard work, you know, when you're being paid, you know, that kind of money, you have to earn it, and that's the bottom line. So, would I do it again? No, I don't think I would. It's not for me, and it's just too hard work for me, I'm afraid. If you want to earn good money, there is decent money to be made, I suppose, depending, you know, if you know how to work the system, and you can rush around, and once you get to know your routes, it's not too bad then. Once you know your routes and your drops, you know, and you do a lot of the same old stuff, it's not too bad then, but you're still rushing and you're still sweating a lot as you're doing it. So that is my review. I hope it was of help to anybody maybe thinking about going into that area. Lots of drivers who are in that area who will probably say, hey, really easy, you know, toughen up, that's fine. I know the driver who trained me, he'd been doing it, I don't know, 15 years, you know, and that's all he ever knew, and he enjoyed it fully, and that's fine, absolutely fine. But yeah, pros, you know, decent money. You can finish a bit earlier once you get to know your round, you know, and you can rush around, you can do that kind of thing. You can finish a little bit earlier. It seems to be a growing industry as well. A lot of them out there. Always seems to be a lot of work with shops, etc. Downsides, I think, you know, multi-drop, heavy multi-drop, and with with the type of shops you get delivering to, you could be, you know, town centre, side of the road, a bit stressful that way, a bit of handballing without a doubt, and yeah, kind of like a lot of multi-truck driving kind of feel to it. But that's my review. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, give me some comments. You know, if you're happy doing that, you didn't like doing that, any points that you might want to raise, absolutely fine. Right, well, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll be with another video soon, reviewing another driving job that I did. Okay, thank you.